back. This is Boomer Life on Oct620.
If I had $1 million, if I had $1 million.
And we're back. Thanks for listening to Boomer Life on Oct620. I'm Joanne Sutton, joined in the studio today by JimDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. A well-thought-out plan for your financial future is an integral part of building the life that you want for yourself and for your family. And today we've been talking about addressing market volatility and having a written financial plan to consult when the markets leave us feeling a little bit uneasy. Key elements to consider when it comes to protecting and preserving your retirement lifestyle. Now, we're going to be speaking about one half of the sandwich generation, boomers taking care of aging and ailing parents or loved ones. And this is a great opportunity to mention an event that's happening tomorrow and a chance to meet Jim and take along a question for him if you have one. He's going to be at Van Dusen Gardens tomorrow, October 7th. It's all part of the Tapestry Foundation's Seniors Lifestyle Tapestry Talks. It runs from 10 until 4. So, Jim, elder care planning is a huge issue that so many in our audience are dealing with now, and we know that caregiving for loved ones is an emotional topic. So, Jim, how do we actually plan for this?
Joanne, I think it's pretty safe to say that we all want to age with dignity, and we all want to make sure that our loved ones do too. No one can be certain of their needs in the future, but what we do know is that you'll want the freedom of choice and control to be cared for as you think is best at that time.
Well, to me, it's about being proactive and trying to make decisions now while you can before you're stuck in a situation where you're forced to make them.
You know, planning for the sandwich generation must take into account not only the emotional aspects, but also the financial challenges. It's essential to make sure that caregiving and financial strategies are built to maximize flexibility and to allow us to pivot with different options depending on future needs.
So once again, I'd like to reiterate that I think this is one of those conversations that you wouldn't expect to have with your financial planner. But one of the ways that you stand out in your practice, Jim, is that you're very comfortable helping families plan for this transition. You have a lot of experience initiating this, what we call a tougher conversation with the parents and their kids.
Well, thank you, Joanne. And that's very kind of you to say that. Being asked to manage your parents' money can pose a significant challenge, especially when their risk tolerance or objectives may not mirror your own. Often, we're invited in the process because the kids can't make heads or tails of the investments or the taxes or the investment records, and they don't want to make any mistakes. One area where I'm able to help is when it comes to arranging your finances to distribute more cash flow, and this can be especially challenging, particularly if you want to maximize tax efficiency.
Well, you've been doing this for years, so from your perspective, what strategies could help future caregivers?
Remember, in addition to managing your parents' money and investments, there may be also new, ongoing healthcare expenses to pay for. This is why it's essential to plan ahead and to speak with your family about which planning options might provide the best opportunities when that day comes. In a perfect world, adult kids would have already had the healthcare chat with their parents to explore some of their wishes regarding their investments, the cash flow planning, or tax consequences. Something along the lines of, if this happens, then I'd like you to, or if this type of event occurs, I suggest you call this person. Have the talk, but keep in mind it's not a conversation you need to have all at once. These are difficult conversations. And it's important to understand that family members understand the wishes of the parents and loved ones, including whether they expect or wish to age at home, and if they'll need prolonged medical care, and what they think that care might look like.
These are difficult conversations. So in your experience, Jim, what do you actually see as one of the bigger hurdles that people face when it comes to elder care planning?
One of the bigger hurdles people face is likely home care and the need for physical support. I've noticed over the years that more and more people want to age at home for longer with complex medical needs and multiple health issues. With boomer clients telling me that their parents want to stay in their home as long as possible, they want to bring the home care service providers to them until that day comes when there's no alternative and they have to move.
It's the comfort factor, isn't it? The older we get, the more frightening change can be.
Exactly. You'll likely notice that houses are not designed for elderly people. As people get older, their needs change, their health changes, they develop mobility issues. I'm sure most of us know of older relatives who've moved into homes which are all on one level because the stairs have gotten to be too much, and they prefer the smaller square footage as it's easier to maintain. Less yard work, less cleaning.
Oh, you've nailed it. I definitely know some of us who like their rancher-style homes, everything on one floor.
Home renovations can make aging at home an accessible option, which is a wonderful comfort. Here's the rub, though. You have to plan ahead to make sure that you have the financial wherewithal to pay for the renovations. This is where a written financial plan comes in handy, and you can model different outcomes to ensure that you'll have the resources available when the time comes.
It actually takes courage to face some of the realities of aging, and while we might not like it, planning for what those needs might look like in the future is absolutely necessary.
When the time comes that you have to modify your home or your car, you want to make sure that you have the resources available, and you'll need to do this, and that it won't impact your retirement options or standard of living.
Jim, I know it may sound ridiculous, but I think a lot of people actually stick their heads in the sand when it comes to this stuff. Like aging is something that's going to happen to somebody else, not me, not to my family.
As an advisor committed to my clients' well-being, it's my job to help you understand your needs and the needs of your loved ones as you enter this phase of life, anticipating issues that might arise before they become a real problem. One of the benefits of experience that I've also had the privilege of working with a number of clients deal with the myriad of issues of aging. And it's not always a money issue. Sometimes it's family dynamics, or it's emotions, or it's all of these things. On a personal note, I look at my mom's situation. She's been fighting Parkinson's and recently gave me her guitar because she couldn't play it anymore. Now, my mom loved that guitar.
Well, this is the essence of the show, isn't it, Jim? To offer a message of hope to our listeners, to let them know that it is possible to grow your knowledge and to feel more confident in your choices.
That's right, Joanne. We all have the choice to become educated consumers. And I cannot emphasize enough just how important it is, as we face the challenges of aging, that we understand what is happening at home, that we communicate with each other, and we take the time to make sure what we understand in terms of the wishes of those of the loved ones and that we're taking care of.
Not to mention understanding the options that are available to us. Like, I know you're going to be at the Tapestry event tomorrow, and if you don't know what Tapestry is, it's a high-end seniors living community. So many of these options need to be financed as well.
You're taking the words right out of my mouth. It's crucial to understand that the options, which could be potentially be available to us as we age, will come with a price tag, and in some cases, a hefty price tag. So what am I saying? A huge part of getting older revolves around financial planning. Planning for the future. Plan to make your retirement great.
So, Jim, it begs the question, do a lot of adult kids bear the financial costs of looking after aging parents?
Yes, they do. You have sons and daughters moving heaven and earth because they made a promise to their mom and dad that they would never put them in a care home. Imagine an 85-year-old grandmother taking care of her 86-year-old husband who suffered a stroke, and they rely on family members to get them to doctor's appointments, to make meals, to clean, and to grocery shop for them. Most unpaid caregivers are family members, spouses, partners, and more often than not, women. Daughters, daughters-in-laws, sisters. It's not an uncommon story in my practice to have clients whose parents are taking care of each other during these times of declining health.
It all sounds way too familiar, and it sounds like a growing concern.
When you haven't planned to have the financial resources available, it can be a huge challenge finding scarce community resources. There's a tremendous amount of stress on caregivers. We often hear from clients that they don't want to be a burden to their family.
Well, I don't think we can say this often enough, that we have got to start that conversation, to pioneer the conversations around family health care.
On September the 14th, the Vancouver Sun ran a front-page story that 1/3 of family caregivers are stressed out. They describe themselves as angry, depressed, or conflicted because of competing demands from children, work, and their own health issues. According to the report, most caregivers are spouses trying to keep their ailing husband or wife with them, and about 45% are adult children, many of whom are also seniors.
That's a great point, Jim. We've actually lived through this in our family, with my dad acting as a primary caregiver for my mom, who had Alzheimer's. And we had to have that conversation about who could give her the best care possible, and it's not necessarily the spouse. Definitely, you've emphasized it's not an easy conversation, but it's a necessary one. You are listening to Boomer Life on CL650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today, we're speaking with Jim Doyle. Jim is a senior financial consultant with Investors Group. Now, Jim, you've mentioned before that if you have any doubt about your situation or where you're going financially, that it can be as simple as getting in touch to gain some clarity. And once again, we're reminded of conversations that you can have with your financial advisor that you didn't know you could. If you want an opportunity to meet Jim, he's going to be on location at Van Dusen Gardens tomorrow, Wednesday, October 7th. He's there from 10 till 4, and it's all part of the Tapestry Foundation's Seniors Lifestyle Tapestry Talks. Jim's phone number here, if you've still got that pen and paper in hand, 604-682-5431, or outside of the Lower Mainland, 1-800-665-7178. And next up, Jim will offer a few tips on planting the financial seeds for students. Have you thought that far ahead yet? Maybe now is a good time to start making a plan. That's all next on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life.